Boondocking seems to be high on everyone's bucket list, and the wall is the #1 place to go. But the rules have changed, and it's not clear on how to exactly get to the boondocking spots. So we hope that this video helps you learn and understand the wall. We are once again at the wall in Badlands National Park, but we didn't know enough about this place to really understand what to do when you got here and how to go about getting here actually. So we're going to actually just drive you up and down the wall for a little bit and just share with you things we've already learned in one day being here.
Yeah, just hours of being here.
And then tomorrow we're going to head into the national park, do some hikes, but we've been working all day and we thought, man, we were just so clueless. Maybe this information would be great for anybody that wants to do this. Right now it's gusting winds about 50 miles an hour. But we're going to try to, I want the wind is down, but if you hear a lot of wind, we'll deal with it, I guess.
It's very windy today.
All right, let's head off. We're going to head to the far end of the wall on the south side, and then we're going to turn around and work our way back. And we'll just explain things as we show you the wall and what it can possibly look like and what you need to know.
So some of the things you will need to know, there are ruts and big hills to get around.
Very rocky, so it makes it very bumpy, so just go slow.
Especially when you're pulling a camper. Actually, this is 2 campsites here. This guy's parked right in the middle, so nobody realizes that's 2 campsites.
So if you see, there's 2 towers right here in front of us. When you are heading to the wall, you're going to be on I-90 in South Dakota. Whether you're going east or west, you're going to get off at Wall, South Dakota. You're going to go south on 240 out of Wall. So basically, when you head south and you see these 2 towers, there's a road right there. You're going to take that road, and it's literally maybe half a mile to the actual wall itself.
Well, the towers themselves.
Yeah. So then when you get past the towers, you can go right or left. Left has a lot more room. There's like 3 or 4 miles worth of road. We saw online that the left was, if you wanted to be more secluded, go left. If you go right, you're going to be around a lot of people. So that's just so you understand. When you first get here, that's actually how you get here. And we're on a very bumpy road, so I am taking my time.
You need to slow down so I can show everybody this guy taking a picture of his dog. You gotta stop. The dog's looking. It's so cute.
We love your dog. All right, so this is the main road in as we're crossing by it. And we are going from east to west to the right side, which is actually south, because it runs parallel with the road. So we're going north to south. That road runs east to west.
You can see the view over here.
Yeah, it's got great views. We actually have a really good view too, so I'm happy with it. We almost came to the right. We almost decided to go right because when we got here, it wasn't this crowded.
So as we get closer to the split, which is by the towers, we didn't go right. We went left. So we want to show you guys what it looks like. We haven't even seen it ourselves. And they say it's busier, it's more packed. And I can already tell there's like 3 campers right in a row as you get into that section. So we're going to see how busy that is on that side. And then that way you will know when you come here which side to stay on. Okay, and then now we have some back ends. So this was the last sideways one, and now we have back end ones. This is also the cul-de-sac where you would turn around. I would even say down here would be the very last one would be a really good one if you're going to come to this side. Because look at the view. Yeah, these are great. But if you could have the last sight, you have the best view.
Yeah, for sure.
Holy cow. So windy. Oh, and then it's just a tiny van.
I don't think that's a.
Oh, I don't think that is. It's just parking. You know why? Because there's a trail that leaves here.
Yeah.
A half-mile trail.
That's from the trail.
Yeah. So that reflection was the last site that was over there.
Yep.
But as you can see, all the way down on the other end is us. Try to get a picture of our camper or I'll walk it later.
You can barely see us.
Oh, I do. Wow, that Lux looks huge out there. And he's way further away from us. Once we get on top of this ridge right here, we're going to be able to see our camper a little bit better.
So, from my understanding, you can camp here for 14 days in this area if you're able to go 14 days without leaving. Funny thing is, we see all these people coming in with these little vans and stuff, and if they go out for the day, what stops anybody from stealing their site?
Well, even a tent either. Yeah. So definitely want to just make sure everything's put away, cleaned up, because there's not a lot of authority out here. Oh, I do see our camper. Look at that. That's awesome. Some of you may be wondering, okay, well, why is everybody just staying on the other side of the road and not both sides of the road? Recently, they did change the rules that you are not allowed on the side of the road that's the cliff side. You can only stay on, there's basically the cliff, the road, and then the campsites. So you are not allowed now on that side because of all the RVs that have turned over from high winds or the bad storms that blow in here. And we'll get into that here in a minute because we are going to probably experience a bad storm. We did last night. And while we were here in South Dakota, only like an hour away from here, we had a horrible storm that we went through yesterday. It was so bad that the news said that windmills were like broken in half. It was crazy.
Okay, so what's the best time to get here? That's really up to you, but personally, after watching everybody come in and out and people leave, we got here at 8:30 this morning, and I believe that was too early. There was still a lot of people that hadn't left. So about 10 o'clock is when I saw most of the people leaving. And between 10 and maybe 2 is probably the best time to show up. Yeah. Anything after that, we've been watching people come in left and right. I mean, just like crazy.
They're really looking for a place to park, and there's the one or two left on that side, but
we have a feeling we're going to end up having somebody split our site with us. They're going to try to, because people are coming in this late.
Yeah.
And it's full. It is packed.
You also have to remember we're here at the end of June, so it's really close to July 4th. And this is the America 250 year, so there's just a lot more people out traveling now. And so that might also have a little bit to do with everything going on. But yeah, this is great up here. 42. I'm sure this view right here for this Lux. Look at this. Okay, this is a great site too. Taking this is 43, but this is his view outside of his window. That's really nice. Oh, wow. And you can see us all the way over there.
So this is the farthest we've been on this road. We walked it a little bit, but not this far. So it's kind of cool to come down and see exactly how far this goes.
There's a couple tents here. We got them staked down nice and secure so they don't fall over the edge. And the road's been good on this end. After
right here, there's some rocks here, but
for the most part, it's been a good. I like where the Solitude's at. That looks like a really nice site for a fifth wheel. for a big one. I remember when he
Sure,
came
it's
by
pretty
this
level.
morning.
It looks pretty level.
Yeah, and like, man, their
Like,
view's
not like
amazing.
it's impossible to get level on.
So this is 49? 49
49.
is the, yeah, look at the view that they get. That's beautiful.
We'll go up here and turn them back around, but they get the gist of what this is like.
Now, the further away you get from the split, the more spaced out these sites are.
Yeah.
This was probably back when you could camp over here and you start seeing these signs that say no motor vehicle. Oh, it looks like we're going too slow for the guy behind us too.
Yeah, I'm going to pull over here and let him go by, and I'm going to turn around. There. Motorcyclists that are tent camping off the bike. So yeah, that's pretty much the wall. This is our first time, and I really think today was we did nothing. We worked, both of us. Even though I'm retired, I worked. But yeah, this is very surreal to be here, because everybody watches the videos of people doing this, and they make it very romanticized. And it can be, but you got to see the reality of it. And this is the reality of it. It's dog eat dog out here to get a spot, get here early, and be picky for what you want.
I'll give this little tidbit for those that are content creators. This is still not in the national park. It's Buffalo Gap. What is it?
National Grassland.
Dispersed camping or something like that. So that's where we're at. You could fly a drone, you could film here. There's like none of those rules here. So now we can't fly the drone. It's way too windy. We got like gusts up to like 60 mile an hour. It's even shutting our windows. It's lifting our window panels up and shutting them. It's that windy today. And we don't have our awnings out or anything like that because we would not have awnings. No one has their awnings out. So when you go to leave your camper for the day, whatever you're planning on doing, do not leave that kind of stuff out.
I wouldn't even close my windows. I wouldn't leave my windows open.
Well, yeah, that's a really good thought too, because pop-up
storms. The wind can show up at any time, and it has been brutal.
Today has been relentless. This guy literally just came in about an hour ago. His campsite's really close to us, considering this is our campsite for the entire time we're here. The reason why we park backwards is because our rear hatch opens.
Yeah, we may have been more level if we'd have just come in this way. But
it's all about that Instagram view.
It's all about my wife watches too much Instagram. Hopefully you guys got a little bit out of that tour, because we see all the videos where they're here. They may even go into driving in and everything, but they never explain this place very well. Or at least I haven't found the ones that do. So we may not have done it either, but I hope we explained it a little bit better. Take away your fear of doing this, because this is actually amazing.
Look at the dust just from the windows being down.
Do you guys like our new covers, rock guard covers? I like them a lot. Didn't put them on the greatest. I did it myself, but I really like them with the mountains in them. Pretty sharp.
So before we move on to the next section, just a reminder of this dispersed camping. So there's no trash service, there's no water service, there's no electric hookups or anything like that. You are totally off-grid boondocking. So there's these campsites don't have anything here. So you have to pack everything in, pack everything out. If you're going to tent camp, you're going to have to figure out a bathroom. So I'm not even sure how that's going to work. If you do run out of water and you need to refill, like with a camper, you could go into the local wall, and there'll be water and things like that you can dump. I think I saw on one website you could do it all the above. So you could flush, dump, flush, and fill for $20. So if you can get by with 4 or 5 days, I don't feel like $20 is too bad to do that. And then you could get yourself back out here, readjust, or find a different spot that you want to stay. And then you could stay out here a total of 14 days.